Hey YouTube, it's ICU and welcome to the 195th episode of Best Tech Info and Rumors. Alright, and to start off, I just want to say that this episode will be slightly shorter than normal, and that's mostly in part because of WWDC, and a lot of behind-the-scenes things I've been working on as of late. Now, last week we were on the precipice of Apple unveiling the future of their operating systems, being iOS 8 and OS 10.10, which we now know to be called OS X Yosemite. And if you happen to miss the unveiling, I will have two links down below in the more info. The first one is actually a post on my site that contains a video that was recorded live at WWDC by Apple. It's best if watched on your iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch. It can only be viewed in Safari. So again, just be sure to check out that link if you missed it and you want to see Apple unveil again, not only iOS 8, but also OS X Yosemite. The second link is actually a video I created after the event that goes over iOS 8, kind of reviews the firmware, details most of the primary features in the next major installment, and also discusses the various developer API options available for iOS 8. Now, personally, if you ask me what I think the best part of iOS 8 and OS X Yosemite is, I will definitely say continuity. And if you missed out on the unveiling or you haven't seen my videos, I'll explain it briefly. So essentially with iOS 8 and OS X Yosemite, Apple has streamlined the two operating systems and made them better than ever in communicating with one another. The first and most prominent part of continuity is how the two operating systems handle various documents and the handshake or handoff between documents, so to speak. So essentially when you're working on something on, let's say, your iPad, and you move into close proximity to something like either a MacBook or an iMac, it will automatically prompt you to take over on your Mac from where you left off on your iPad, and vice versa if you happen to go from OS X to an iPad, for instance. So you will be able to take over various documents from pages, numbers, and keynotes, presumably, on one operating system to the next. It's Apple's seamless way of integrating various work and documents between the two operating systems. And also, continuity will now allow OS X to not only answer phone calls that you receive on your iPhone, but also initiate phone calls from various web pages and listings online. So yes, you will actually be able to talk to various people on your Mac via your iPhone. And on that note, there actually is a new form of intelligent tethering that goes along with continuity. Essentially, Apple explained it as when you're out of range of a Wi-Fi network, your Mac will automatically communicate with your iPhone, telling it that it needs to connect to the network if you attempt to, and then it will create the hotspot on your iPhone and it will connect to it again as needed. However, I wasn't able to actually accomplish this. I'm not sure if it's because these are just the first beta iterations of Apple's next software installments or not, but it's likely that these features will be improved over time before Apple actually releases both to the public. Also, it's currently unknown if you'll need access to the default hotspot feature in iOS 8, in which case you will have to go through carriers, so you will have to actually forfeit your unlimited data plan if you're grandfathered into that for some networks, or you'll actually have to switch to an entirely different data plan. So again, that's not currently 100% clear at this point in time. Beyond that though, the major focal point of iOS 8 was definitely developers. They now have more options than ever to vastly improve their applications, such as the ability for third-party apps to now communicate with one another, HomeKit, HealthKit, and CloudKit APIs, as well as Apple opening up Touch ID to developers to actually use in various applications, all while still keeping fingerprint data secured, as well as things like actionable notifications and so much more. Again, all of the major APIs are detailed in depth on the video that I have linked to below. And also, in relation to iOS 8, I actually created a video for educational purposes only of how it's theoretically possible to update to iOS 8 Beta 1 without the need for a developer account. Now, historically, Apple has and probably will continue to require various devices, UDID or unique device identifiers, to be registered through an Apple developer account before upgrading to a beta iteration of iOS. In this case, iOS 8 Beta 1. So again, it is technically possible to restore a device to the new firmware without it being registered through Apple's developer program. However, since I created the video, there's been a slight revision to various checks in Apple's update system, and I wanted to detail those now. So if you were to update to iOS 8, hypothetically speaking, for educational purposes, and you actually had a 100% genuine and official version of the beta IPSW, then you wouldn't be able to actually connect your device device, if its UDID isn't registered, to iTunes post iOS 8 install. So essentially what that means is after the device is updated to iOS 8, it won't be able to be connected to iTunes. So seeing as a fresh restore is also needed, what you would have to do is back up your device on whatever firmware it's running and then restore to iOS 7.1.1, restore from your backup inside of iTunes, and then follow the method outlined in the educational video that I have linked to below to update to iOS 8. And again, from there, that device would not be able to be connected to iTunes to do things like actually backup or to actually restore from that backup. While you would be able to theoretically backup, at that point you would receive an activation error after a select period of time that's determined by Apple's servers. Also, while performing numerous tests with my own devices, I found that the method that I just mentioned is the absolute best for retaining data. However, it's also crucial to realize that in some instances, you will actually need to start from a completely fresh device, so just restore to iOS 7.1.1 and then follow the method outlined in my educational video to update to iOS 8 without having any of your personal data. And beyond that, there are potential complications for updating to the second beta, seeing as an iCloud activation error is triggered once connected to iTunes. So this isn't a permanent solution by any stretch of the imagination, more of something that you would temporarily be able to test. So if you're interested in learning more about Apple's upcoming iOS 8 firmware, just be sure to check out the videos that I have linked to below. And now moving on, but also kind of on the same topic, I wanted to discuss jailbreaking and the future of the process. So iOS hacker Stefan Esser, commonly referred to online and by the jailbreak community as Ionic, has been busy as of late. From his extraordinary claims of a new tool to jailbreak 7.1.1 to the hacker's continual untethered jailbreak related teases, the most prominent of which can be found in the form of a proof of jailbreak video for iOS 7.1.1. And in a slight break of reports surrounding the iOS 7.1.1 jailbreak, Apple again announced iOS 8 and OS X Yosemite earlier this week during their annual keynote presentation. Now, while so many individuals either accidentally updated to or already purchased a device that was running iOS 7.1.1 or even 7.1, the future of jailbreaking is undeniably iOS 8. And the jailbreak for the firmware will reportedly become a bloodbath, as I detailed in last week's episode, with multiple groups competing for the glory and the small fortune that goes with said glory. And on that note, Ionic has taken to Twitter yet again to tease a post 7.1.1 untethered jailbreak solution for iOS 8. Now, tying all of the previously mentioned topics together, following Apple's unveiling of iOS 8, Ionic tweeted that the upcoming firmware, based on the first beta iteration, doesn't patch the hacker's new jailbreak method, which again was first demonstrated on an iPhone 5C running iOS 7.1.1. Now, in the first of a short series of iOS 8 and jailbreak related tweets, Ionic said the following, quote, "Tests show that iOS 8 beta does not fix anything. Dumped kernel fine, but code changed and patches are not found." So that's extremely good news for jailbreakers. It means that in holding on to a cyber elevator jailbreak instead of releasing a utility to jailbreak 7.1, 7.1.1 immediately upon actually jailbreaking the firmwares themselves, the hacker has kept the exploits under Apple's radar and in turn effectively prevented them from being patched in iOS 8 beta 1. Now, as suggested in the hacker's follow-up tweet, Ionic's cyber elevator jailbreak should in theory function on and jailbreak iOS 8. Now again, there's no questioning that iOS 8 is the future for jailbreaking, and that's most likely where developers will set their sights. But what about a jailbreak for iOS 7.1.1? In his typical style, Ionic controversially suggested numerous times that a jailbreak for the firmware was not only possible, but also probable. Now, unfortunately, as I've mentioned before, Ionic is a loose cannon. On one hand, the hacker has contributed to the community and certainly knows his way around iOS hacking and security, while on the other, Ionic has been known to stir up unnecessary excitement, while other hackers, namely Pod2G and MuscleNerd of the Evaders, pick up the slack and release untethered utilities on a semi-annual basis. And while it's certainly unknown at this point in time what jailbreak developments may or may not propagate in the months leading up to iOS 8's release, just be sure to stay tuned to my channel because I'll not only keep you guys updated along the way with in-depth news videos, but I'll also create the first untethered jailbreak tutorials once new utilities are made available to the public. And now moving on, I wanted to talk about free applife and a recent update to the service. Now, if you're unfamiliar with free applife, you can use it to essentially earn earn points, which can then be redeemed for various prizes like paid application codes from Apple's App Store. Well, now we've made free app life substantially better by offering a new referral system. So now, instead of simply earning points one time for referring a user to free app life, you will now essentially earn 50% of the points that said user generates for the lifetime of their account. So if you were to refer a friend or family member and they were to download, hypothetically speaking, an app worth 100 points, you would then receive 50 points and you would continue to receive 50% of the points they earn for, again, the lifetime of their account. So if you have yet to download free app life, this is an absolutely great time to do so. Just be sure to visit freeapplife.com or bit.ly/getfreeapplife inside of Safari. Once downloaded, install sponsored apps for points and then redeem said points for various prizes, again, such as paid application codes from Apple's App Store, gift cards, and electronic devices. Now, in mentioning free app life, I think it's paramount to detail that the PlayStation 4 giveaway the service was holding has concluded. The winner is actually up on the screen now. We have contacted them. If you didn't win though, don't worry, because you will now have a chance to win 40,000 points inside of free app life simply by referring a friend or family member to the service. And again, you'll also receive 50% of their points for life. All right, and that's it for this episode. If you liked it and you're interested in the 40,000 points giveaway on free app life, just be sure to rate it up and leave a relevant comment down below in the comment section. If you don't know what to leave in the comment section, try answering the question of the day. And this time around, I'm going to make it related to both iOS 8 and OS X Yosemite. So while both operating systems are absolutely incredible, Apple intentionally left room and improvement for both, because of course they do release new iterations of iOS and OS X each year, so they have to leave new features available for the future. So what areas do you think Apple could improve upon both? Again, just be sure to let me know down below in the comment section or on Jailbreak Tech Info. And if you're interested in being updated more often, such as when I create videos covering iOS 8 and jailbreaking, just be sure to like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, add me in one of your circles inside of Google+, and follow me on Instagram at ICUID. Again, links to everything below, and until next time, this is ICU signing out.